Welcome to Intuitive Seek. My name is Mary Train, and as an intuitive guide, energy healer, and meditation teacher, I aim to bring you a grounded approach to all things energy and intuition. Everything I share is with the hope to help you remember how your unique power of intuition is your own greatest teacher.
Hello and welcome. Welcome to your Intuitive Week, your energy update for the week of April 20th. How are you? How was the last week for you? For me, it was quite surprising. On Tuesday, right at the beginning of the week, my mom had to be admitted into the hospital for a very scary but temporary, and she is okay now, condition. I won't go into the details to keep her privacy, but it was very surprising. And luckily, I was able to travel up here to be with her. And she was only in there for 2 days. And yes, her condition was temporary, like I said, with no long term damage or impact, just more of a recovery from the intensity of the experience. And yeah, another rare condition impacting my family. Because if you were around in March, my partner also had a rare condition where he was in the hospital for over a week. And I am really hoping, because both of them, very, very fortunately, are getting better and better, and his condition is getting better and better, and the long term impact for him is much smaller than they thought it was at the beginning. And for my mom, there is no, like, zero long-term impact physically. And I will share, without going into the details, that it did come on from intense stress over a long period of time, compounded, and that really took a toll. And, last week, the energy felt like an opportunity for regeneration and finding the root cause of stopping and starting and what's blocking the flow. That sacred renewal. The starfish came through. And when I speak of all of those things and I look back at the energy of last week, the energy update ended up being quite literal in my personal life. And yeah, so a real reminder for all of us. And what I speak about a lot, where every day, every week, like, connect to how much energy we have available. Connect to our bandwidth, because it changes. It really does. How much energy we have available changes. That's why we need to connect to it. And not our capacity, not what you can handle, not what you can hold, because most likely that is way more than what is healthy for your nervous system. And if you have been relying on second winds and third winds, it can catch up to you. And eventually that debt of energy, that debt will be called to be repaid in often physical ways. So, yeah, a good reminder. It's interesting too, because of course I was connecting in for myself too, to see if I had the bandwidth to record the energy update for this week. And when I tuned in, I did. I really felt like I wanted to, because I really enjoy doing these messages in this podcast, and it does give me energy. And I had a great sleep last night, so I did feel a pull to record, but it felt really good. And I was inspired by the meditation when I connected. And yes, all in all, I checked in with myself and it felt like the right thing to do. So, a reminder to everyone: check in with your bandwidth and make sure that you are not overextending yourself if possible. And I had a really full week my week was booked. And because of my mother's emergency, I had to reschedule everything. So I am very grateful for the clients who were booked with me and were so understanding to reschedule. Thank you. And I also had to cancel my live event on Insight Timer, which, if you were signed up for that, you saw. So if that was you who received the canceled message, thank you so much for your understanding as well. And yes, I will definitely reschedule that in time. And I do hope that this was, and I mean, we don't really have any control over this, but I hope that that was the last rare medical event in my family for a while, if ever, would be great. So let's do let's do some grounding breaths together just to help to anchor our energy and really land here in the moment. And take a nice deep breath in through your nose, bringing that breath down into your belly, and let that breath out through your mouth. And take another nice deep breath in through your nose, bringing that breath down into your belly, and let that breath out through your mouth. And one more nice deep breath in through your nose, bringing that breath down, and let that breath out. And have I shared why I love breathing in through the nose and exhaling out of the mouth? There's a few reasons. The inhaling through the nose is my favorite way to kind of ground into the body because that breathing, nasal breathing, releases nitric oxide, which is the molecule that helps move oxygen through our blood vessels because it helps to widen the blood vessels. Increasing the production of nitric oxide in our body has antiviral, antibacterial, and antifungal properties. And another way to really increase nitric oxide is humming. Humming helps 15 times more than just breathing out. So if you breathe in through your nose and then hum, like really make a sound as you're exhaling, that helps to increase it as well. And some of the other reasons I like it is we have the cilia, so our nasal hairs, and that helps to trap like contaminants. But then we also get more warm air moving through the nose, and it prevents like mouth dryness and irritation as well. So, yeah, do some nice deep breaths through the nose, out through the mouth, hum away while you're just kind of moving around. These are really helpful ways to kind of come back to your body and come back to your energy. Very practical. All right. So, when I first opened up the meditation, which is a meditation that I do with the intention to receive insight, guidance, messages, symbolism, anything that I can translate through my intuition for us, for you and I, to move through the week with more clarity and more intention. So, with everything I share, make sure that you trust what resonates, but also trust what doesn't. Really use them as a way to develop your intuition. So, use this energy update as a way to enhance how you trust your intuition. Trust what feels true and leave the rest. So, when I first opened up the meditation, we were lying down on green grass. And we were stretched out, very similar to how we were last week if you listened, but we were standing stretching. And then that light was from behind. But in this part, for this week, we're lying down. The grass is green. The ground is solid and firm. The grass is growing. The sun is all around us. And we're lying on our belly. We're not on our back. So we're really stretched out and supported. So we are stretching, but it feels very natural. And we are stretched out fully stretched out and supported, which, like I said, is like last week, except now we're laying down. And last week, if you did not connect to your shadow, and listen to last week if you didn't, and this feels connected, if you didn't connect to your shadow, to the part of you that was in the way of you really stretching into yourself and into the flow and into your inspiration, that was the way of you accepting every part of you into the flow of acceptance, then continue to look at that this week. But for the energy that I was shown for this week ahead is that we are resting in that flow. So now we're stretching, but with so much less resistance because we are supported. But we are not only supported, we feel it. We are trusting the growth beneath us. We are trusting the ground beneath us. Our bellies are on the ground. So our creativity and our emotions and our solar plexus and our heart and every aspect of our tenderness is feeling more secure, the opportunity to. We are trusting the security that we have by allowing ourselves to be grounded and connected, and allowing ourselves to not only be grounded and supported, but to rest. And that doesn't mean to not move, because we are moving, we're stretching, we're not curled up, we're not in a ball. But then we did get up and we started walking on the grass that was growing, but it still felt very solid and open. And the grass was growing not fast, but in a way that we noticed. And there is this grounded, intentional action opening up this week. There is this trust of everything that we have, we actually can see now. The resources of the earth beneath us, the resources of what we have within, the opportunities that we can kind of stretch ourselves out towards, that the fear and the worry isn't something we feel the need to protect ourselves from, that we can stretch out and know that we are already protected. There's just this sense of peace, which we know literally could be very, very, very helpful in the world right now, but also within each one of us. If we could feel that, so much could shift. And then as we're walking on the growing green grass and we feel open and we have stretched and we are moving, but at a very intentional pace, there was a gold pyrite crystal in front of us, a very, very large one. And right away, I knew, like, the first thing that came through when I saw it was, oh, fool's gold, because that is what pyrite is known as. A lot of people in the gold rush thought that pyrite was gold, but it doesn't mean that it is not of value. But it does feel like a bit of a message for this week that something that you may have thought had more value maybe doesn't in your life. Like there's a clarity of value that could come through this week. But pyrite also has a really powerful symbolism and energy of material wealth. And it feels like that came through to remind us that this week we may have more clear vision for the value that we are and the value we feel from what is around us, how we value the support and growth around us and for us, that we have gratitude for everything that we value, that we feel that value deep within, that it's not coming from outside in, but actually from inside out, and that we're able to discern the true value of what we desire to achieve and receive, and to know what is not worth that. So it does feel like a new, kind of grounded, growing, abundant reality is what we're stepping into this week. And that our action may come from knowing not only when to act, but when to rest and to allow what we have already kind of initiated to keep growing, but not put so much forceful energy behind it. To be determined, but to not push, to lean into trust. And if you do feel that pushing, determined, but like, I'm not trusting the determination, so I'm just going to be like extra, extra, extra determined, then move back into a grounding practice, move back into that nose breathing, move back into the humming, like move back into your body as best as you can. And then the animal of the week came through, and the animal inspiring us this week is the badger. And right away, when I saw the badger in the meditation, I saw the black and white of the tail and of his face, and that coloring felt like a call to harmony, that we can connect to some form of harmony this week, a knowing of what is not in harmony. Maybe that's part of the fool's gold, really understanding, oh, wait, that is not what I'm like truly valuing. That is not offering anything to my life right now, even though I may have been putting energy into it. So right away, harmony felt like a big message from the badger. And grounding, of course, they're so close to the earth. They dig into the earth. They create little houses and homes in different parts of the earth through a tunnel system. They have intentional action. And I was reminded as the badger came through that we had the badger before in your intuitive week. And the badger came through last year at the end of October for the week of October 27th. And when I am reminded of when it came through in the past, I do like to look at the patterns of the animals, and this may have some insight for you, some more specific connection for you to understand maybe what you are moving through now based on then, maybe similar themes. Maybe you can witness what has changed or how far you've come since the end of October last year, like really looking at what you have learned. There may be a real connection between the end of October last year and this week. So trust what comes through for you when I say that. But getting back to the animal symbolism of the badger, the energy of the badger represents courage, focus, grounding, persistence, protection, spiritual journeys, good luck, self reliance, strength, and healing. And Ted Andrews' Animal Speak does have a passage about the badger, and this part was highlighted for me. So let me share this excerpt from Animal Speak about the badger to offer more insight and guidance. Badgers are an earth symbol and regarded as protectors of the roots of medicine. They are considered magical creatures because of their ability to resist snake venom. To see a badger is a sign of great luck, and the message that the badger animal brings is that we should all unlock our own true potential and work hard at making it shine. Are you or those around you not digging deep enough? It may indicate a need to get beneath the surface. It may reflect a time of greater connection to the earth and its spirits. It may be telling you to draw upon the stories that intrigued you and held you during childhood. They may be symbolic of things going on or about to go on in your current life. Whenever Badger shows up, there will be opportunities to develop self-expression and reliance. It speaks of a time to begin to tell a new story about yourself and your life. And really connect to where I shared about the energy themes and then also what came into the excerpt from Animal Speak. Between those energetic themes and the excerpt, Where did you connect to? How did it feel connected to something specific in your life? Like, really trust that. And after I took my notes from the meditation, I looked at the astrology and realized, oh, we're moving into Taurus season this week, the second sign of the astrological year. We're moving from Aries, fire, to earth. We're moving out of Aries season, that intense, inspirational, active, direct fire energy ruled by Mars. And then we're moving into Taurus now. Slow, intentional, grounded action, truth, loyalty, security, value, trust, tenacity. I mean, everything that came through is so connected to this energy. And Taurus is ruled by Venus, the energy of pleasure and beauty and love. And it really does feel like everything that I've already talked about that came through in the meditation is so connected to this energetic shift. Connecting to your resources, your value, trusting in your resources and value, getting grounded, slow, intentional action, knowing what is worth your time and what is that kind of fool's gold, what is not in harmony with your life anymore. Maybe Aries season really showed you that. But I also feel like the courage that the badger represents is still a big part of the energy. And we have had courage, bravery, in one way or another come up all month. So it does feel like a reminder again to pay attention to when you have a fear about something in your life that you are wanting to do, and to not allow your fears to be stronger or louder than your inspiration or your intuition. To make sure that what you're feeling, that clarity of from within, as you are more grounded and embodied and moving slower and taking care and really seeing the value and the worth and the truth of your life right now, trusting the growth and the support that your inspiration and your intuition is leading. And so maybe your bravery doesn't have to be so loud, but it's more steady because your fears might still be there, but they're not in charge. They're just reminding you of what you need to do. There is something about this week that feels very special. And I know last week, because of the new moon and all the planets in Aries and all of the other things that were happening, there was so many people saying like last week was the life changing and the breakthrough and the big, 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 big week. And sure, that was true. I mean, even, in my personal experience, that was true. But there is something about the way the energy is moving this week, that feeling of calm, rested, stretching out from trust and feeling the growth and just moving intentionally but slowly. It felt like there is some magic available, like some grounded, natural, magical breakthrough, a true a true kind of new story. And because of this, please take care of your energy. Get the grounding in, get the humming in, get the care in, get the pleasure in, get your oxygen moving through your blood, get into your body so that you are available for any of that magic that is coming through this week. And now let me share a few writing prompts, journal prompts. These are kind of soul questions to help you dive deeper into the energy. Trust which ones you want to answer, all or one, whatever feels right. So the first question could be, what new story are you stepping into? What new story are you stepping into? And number two, describe what your body feels like when you are calm, rested, and trusting life. And then describe what it feels like when you're not. And when you've done those descriptions, practice feeling the calm, rested, and trusting energy that you described. Like really feel it. And number 3, what journey have you been on? Spiritual, emotional, material, creative, like really trust whatever comes. But what journey have you been on since late October 2025? Describe every detail you can. And then how does this knowledge help you now about what has transpired since October 27th, 2025 to now? And number 4, what growth are you experiencing? And what part of this growth are you resisting? And that brings us to the end of this episode of Intuitive Seek, this energy update for the week of April 20th. I would love to hear, as always, if you resonated with any of the energy that I'm feeling that we're moving through. And if you have any thoughts or questions or anything you want to share, please don't hesitate to send me a message. All of the links are in the show notes that you need. And hugely appreciated if you subscribe wherever you get your podcasts or follow whatever platform you're on, depending. And if you feel called to give a bit more support, you could share this episode with a friend, or you could leave a review. That is so helpful. So, thank you again. Be extra kind to yourself and others. And I will talk to you next week.
Hi, Auntie Mary. I just wanted to say something very, very